Greetings. You can call me Gabriel. I am from the Council of 12. We are observers. Today we will talk about the principles of the universe. So, the main postulate is that everything that surrounds us and we ourselves are this is a living consciousness and a wave or vibration. Remember this for the future. Absolutely everything that you see around you is a consciousness that has decided to manifest itself exactly in the form that you see. So, the creator is the creation itself, since it is manifested consciousness in all types and forms that you see. If only you could listen and look closely, then you would notice that everything around you, in addition to physical light and sound perceived by your senses, also shines and sounds, since it is nothing more than a wave of one single consciousness. Absolutely everything from seemingly inanimate stones, up to giant glowing stars and even your bodies. But your senses are not yet able to perceive this, although this soon, very soon, radically changed and a completely new world will open before you. So, everything is consciousness, wave, vibration, light and sound. Creation manifests itself in a wide variety of forms. And just as water can appear in 3 basic states, so the creation is represented by 7 different levels of consciousness. So, the first level is usually what most scientists call inanimate matter, that is, simple substances, as well as stones, rocks, crystals and minerals, the special abilities of which I will talk about below. This also includes all the infinite variety of flora on this planet. The second level is represented by a truly inexhaustible abundance of fauna on our planet, and this includes all animals, birds and insects of which we see with you. I will also talk about their amazing abilities more than once. So, the fourth level, which many of you will soon get acquainted with, is a very interesting way of manifesting consciousness, since here it can be simultaneously both solid material, both in the previous 3 levels, and lighter and less dense. But this is you will understand better when you go into the state, but for now any comparisons will carry as little information for you as for an animal trying to imagine the world in color. I can only say that at this level consciousness is much more united and strives for unity than on the previous 3. The 5th level of consciousness is what you roughly call the astral. This is an exclusively non-physical world, representing consciousness in its purest form. Yes, this is the very place, if I may say so, where after your body ceases to function does your soul or essence, which in reality is a particle of the Creator's consciousness manifested at the 5th level. Simply put, the spark of God, like you like to call it. I will talk about this in more detail later, but for now I will only add that the 5th level is a kind of plane of contemplation, where consciousness, which has passed through the experience of the next incarnation, ponders the possibility of the next return to one of the lower levels for receiving even more lessons and going through a new round of necessary experience. The 6th level of consciousness is also non-physical, and it is called the Akashic Chronicles, or the limitless information field of experience of everyone living on the previous levels. An endless library of everything. The 6th the level of consciousness. This is an absolute balance and knowledge in its purest form. Famous prophets of the past could connect to it at any moment. Ascended masters such as Jesus also received all their information directly from this level. Among us and in the ranks organizations of Invicti, many, staying at the 4th level, communicate with representatives of the guardians of the general knowledge rise of mankind, and the most valuable information came and comes from them, since their task is not only to store knowledge, but also to monitor the progress and passing of lessons in civilizations at previous levels of consciousness. The 7th level is, perhaps, the most difficult concept for an ordinary person, but I will try to explain it as clearly as possible. So, as you already understood, consciousness presents itself in many faces on 6 different levels, and upon completion of all lessons and the experience gain returns to its source in union with the unified creation. So, the 7th level is the very level where all the total experience of all previous levels is generalized. But, as you remember, the consciousness of creation is also a wave or vibration, and therefore, the 7th level is not the center of a circle or a sphere. All these are linear representations. Are simultaneously all 6 levels of consciousness in parallel, since it is inseparable from them. Something like a pie in which 6 different layers collectively make up itself the body of the pie, and at the same time the pie itself, so to speak, contains the knowledge or properties of all the other 6 levels. combining them simultaneously in itself. The pi is the 7th level vein, or the total experience of all its constituent layers. This is the best comparison for linear thinking that a common person possesses. What touches death? This is what happens when the spirit is no longer able to maintain the working capacity of the body, in which he lives due to his physical or other damage. He decides to immediately separate from him, just like a pilot catapulted from a down plane. In the human biofield, the 4th component of his personality, on his outer side, there is something like a valve connected to the physical body, a silver and biblical cord, which is designed in such a way that it always has a connection with the 5th level through a special level of vibrations, and at any convenient moment, obeying the order of the spirit and soul, can turn from a thin thread into a wide vortex energy tube, which will have the very same external valve as its outlet in the biofield. This process has been worked out to automatism and is something akin to an unconditioned reflex, as, for example, in many animals, like hedgehogs or turtles, which have needles or shells in case of danger. Through this passage, a particle of the consciousness of creation, endowed with a certain load of experience gained in life, passes back to the 5th level of consciousness and reunites with the Creator. Thread breaks off and, as a rule, after 40 days, thin shells also disappear, which, like residual electricity, still remain within the body all this time.